Welcome to the universe in a seashell, the podcast dedicated to science, life, and girl power. I'm carabartek and I'm your host. I'm a PhD, an author, and I want to make this world a more equal and opportune place, one girl at a time. Yodelay-hee-hoo! Welcome to the podcast. I am Kara and I'm your host, and today I am joined by one of my favorite co-hosts. And before I introduce her, I'm going to give you a few hints. She is 4 years old. Her favorite color is turquoise, and she's unsure whether or not physics will ever be truly unified by a single theory.
Hi guys!
That's Penny. Penny, are you ready to talk all things bees today?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got to cover a few things before we get started, just to remind our friends of some favors that we want them to do for us. But before I even start that, I have a bone to pick with you. Did you know that? I'm very upset. Okay. So I made dinner tonight, and the first thing that Penny announced as she tasted my dinner, my wild rice to be specific, she said that it tasted like cow vomit.
Yes, it really tasted like cow vomit.
Now, how exactly do you know what cow vomit tastes like? That's what I want to know.
It tastes like cow vomit like the same way.
So you've been eating cow vomit? See, I think I'm more disturbed by the fact that you've been eating cow vomit. Where exactly are you getting cow vomit? Is this a new dish on the cafeteria menu that I was unaware of? Cow vomit over rice? Cow vomit on toast? Cow vomit?
I ate cow vomit in the sea. There's cow mermaid vomits everywhere. So my dad picked them up.
You know, that's another issue that we need to talk about is Penny's life living in the sea as a mermaid prior to her coming and living in Texas with her sister, her dad, and myself. I think she's got some unresolved issues. Obviously, if she is eating cow vomit.
Really, I'm eating cow vomit.
You broke my heart, Penny. You broke my heart. I'm not sure I can move on, but I'm happy to be talking about bees. But I wanted to give a big shout out to two of my friends who sent in some really amazing pictures. Now, these two girls love bugs so much, Viola and Athena. Now, Viola, she's a Girl Scout, and she is not scared of anything that creeps, crawls, stings, flies, whatever. She loves bugs, and you got to check out her photos. I have them posted on my Facebook page. You can find them under the album of Kids Who Love Bugs. Now, she's setting an amazing example for her little sister, Athena, who can be seen touching a hissing cockroach. Can you believe that, Penny?
She touched a hissing cockroach?
She did. And I'm so proud of those girls. Thank you for setting a good example, and thank you for sending in those pictures. Now, if you would like your pictures featured on one of my social media pages, just direct message me. That's one way to get them to me. Or you can email me at universeinaseashell@gmail.com. Again, that email address is universeinaseashell@gmail.com. Send me your pictures. Send me your show ideas. Send me your comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Now, just as a quick reminder, if you are out there and you are listening and enjoying the podcast, please make sure that you subscribe or hit that notification button in whatever podcast player that you're listening to. Also, leave us a rating and review because, guys, that really helps us out. It lets us know exactly what we're doing right, what you guys like, and it raises the visibility of the podcast in the player chart. So that helps us out because, again, the universe in a seashell is all about making this world a more equal and opportune place, one girl at a time. And I can't do that by myself. Can I, Penny?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm not taking your word for it because you said that my rice tasted like cow vomit. So I'm just no. No. So, Penny, are you ready to talk about all things bees?
But they haven't touched a beetle, but I'm scared of those.
You're scared of beetles or you're scared of bees?
Scared of beetles.
You shouldn't be scared of beetles. I don't know too many beetles that actually sting or can do anything terrible to you. Now, bees, they do sting. But you like bees, though, anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
What do you like about bees?
I like the honey because the humans grab it and I put it on toast. It tastes good, and I ate it in the sea really good.
You ate it in the sea as well? There's bumblebees in the sea?
Yeah.
I
used
love...
to grab them.
Used to grab them? I love honey as well. I like to put honey on toast, like you like butter toast. No, you like to put honey on peanut butter, don't you?
Yeah, and toast.
Peanut butter and toast?
Yeah. There's plain toast.
Now,
It's soft.
did you know that bumblebees are actually related to wasps and ants?
Yes. I've been reading the research.
You better quit reading my research. Now, they perform a very important function in this world, which is called, and it starts with a P. What is it? What is the most important things that bumblebees do besides make honey?
Pollination.
Girl, high five! You got
I've been
it,
reading
sister.
the research again.
Penny's totally right, and she has been reading my research. So pollination is one of the most and primary functions that bees perform.
Like the century of the bees.
Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. Now I don't know if they consciously do it, but when they go around and collect nectar to make honey, what happens is the little grains of pollen, which is that part of the flower that's on the inside that kind of looks like powder. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, they got stuck in it.
Yeah, so it gets on their little bodies, okay?
Yeah.
And they'll move from flower to flower to flower to flower, or from bush to tree to crop to crop. And what ends up happening is they're moving all that pollen around, and that's very important because what that does is it fertilizes flowers, or it fertilizes plants, and it allows fruit to grow, or it allows flowers to grow. Yeah, that tree actually doesn't have any flowers or fruit. But let's say, for example, it was an apple tree. Pollination would be pretty important.
But what is that tree actually?
That's an oak.
Oak tree.
Yeah. It's just an old water oak. But yeah, so anything that bears fruit, has flowers, it's very important that an insect pollinates it, and that's what bumblebees do. Now, did you know that there are over 16,000 species of bees? 16,000. I know means.
Reading research.
Okay, there you go. You're so smart. Make sure you speak into the microphone.
Been reading the research all day.
Now, bees can be found on every continent except for Antarctica. Okay? Because it's a little too cold there, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's too cold for bees. Now, here's an interesting fact that's going to blow your mind. Bees, honeybees specifically, have to gather nectar from over 2 million flowers to make just 1 single pound of honey. 2 million flowers. Now, to accomplish something like that, a bee would have to fly about 90,000 miles. That's the equivalent of flying 3 times around the globe. That's a lot of work for just a little bit of honey.
What the heck?
That's a lot. Now, does that make you appreciate that honey a little bit more? To imagine all of the work that the bees are doing?
Yes! 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 Yes!
Okay, now, but the average bee will only make 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire lifetime. So that's only like a teeny tiny drip of honey, and one bee will make that. So let's imagine, think about all of the honey that we see in the supermarket. Is there a lot of honey?
Yeah.
think about all the bees that had to make all that honey. What do you think? That's a lot of bees, right?
And the humans steal it and they make the honey out of it.
Yeah.
So they make the jars and put it in the jars.
Absolutely.
And the bear things.
Oh yeah, the teddy bear looking, yeah, the things that you squeeze, it looks like a little teddy bear. So now a honeybee would have to visit 50 to 100 flowers in one single trip to collect all of the good stuff to make honey. 50 to 100. Can you imagine? That's just in one trip.
That's one trip.
Now, honeybees can fly for up to 6 miles. Okay? Now, that's a lot for a bee that's only about teeny tiny, kind of maybe the size of the end of your thumb, right? Sometimes they get a little bit bigger. Now, they can only go as fast as 15 miles an hour. So that's not like as fast as a car, but it's not as slow as the mosquitoes. Remember, we learned how slow mosquitoes were?
They're
They fly pretty
really
fast.
slow, right? When they walk. Really slow when they walk.
Well, mosquitoes, they fly so slow, but honeybees, they kind of fly average, 15 miles an hour. So that's like if we were driving through a school zone, like when we're going to school in the morning and all those flashing lights are on, and we have to slow down really, really slow. That's about as fast as a honeybee can fly.
Yeah, like the honeybees fly somewhere to get honey.
Now,
Honey from the flowers.
Now, did you know honeybees are pretty smart? Oh, they are. They're totally smart. Now, their
Really
brain...
smart?
Yeah, their brain is oval shaped, okay? That's almost the same kind of shape as a human brain. Our brain is a little bit different, but it's almost that. Now
It's like a circle.
Yeah, it's kind of like a circle with like a big gushy part on the back, right? A human brain. Now, but a bee's brain is oval, so that's kind of almost like an egg shape, right? It's kind of a flat circle, okay? It's a flat circle. Now, did you know that it's only the size of a sesame seed? It's teeny tiny, but still, even though it's so teeny tiny, bees are very, very smart.
Teeny tiny.
Yeah, the size of a seed.
And you lost it?
I hope the bees don't lose their brains. I think you lost your brain when you said that my dinner tasted like cow vomit. Because you know that I'm the person that's in charge of desserts around here.
But Mommy, their ears are small and the brain can fall out. Like our ears are small.
No, it stays in place. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But
Now,
what happens if we squish it out?
we don't want to do that because bees are very important, okay? Now, bees have a remarkable capacity to learn and remember things. Now, they can make complex calculations as far as how far they have to travel and how much energy that they have to last during that trip. Because remember, we said that they have to travel really far and visit between 50 and 100 flowers. Well, their brain can calculate, okay, this is how much time it's going to take me to do that.
But what if they want to visit their friends?
Well, that's why we call them worker bees. Because they really don't do a whole lot of socialization. They generally work.
Work really hard to get more honey.
Now, how do you think that honeybees talk to one another?
Bzz, bzz. They do that.
Now, I'm gonna drop a little tidbit of knowledge on you. They actually communicate by dancing.
They dance? How did they dance? Tell me.
Okay. So they kind of move in circles, they wiggle, they do the stanky leg and the orange justice and the floss. No, actually what they do is they kind of move in like little circles and different patterns, and what that does is it tells bees certain things.
Be quiet. I hear something. A bee dancing.
Oh, is that a bee dancing? Okay.
That's another one.
Now, a colony of bees can consist of between 20,000 and 60,000 honeybees and only one queen, okay?
One queen?
Worker honeybees are female, okay, and they live for about 6 weeks and they do all of the work. but a queen bee can live for up to 5 years. Okay?
Do you die?
Well, they're the only bees that lay eggs. Okay? Now, queen bees are typically busiest during the summer, and that's where the hive needs to be at maximum strength. Because what's happening in the summer? What's happening with all the flowers and the plants? What are they doing? Are they dying or are they blooming?
Blooming.
Absolutely. They're blooming and all of the pollen's moving around. Now, a queen bee can lay up to 2,500 eggs per day. Can you believe that?
One.
Because you got to make a lot of bees, right?
Oh.
Now, there are large worker bees. These are the male honeybees, and they're called drones. Now, they don't have a stinger, and they don't work. All they do is fertilize the eggs, okay? What do you think about that? Because you thought all bees had stingers.
Yeah, they do all stingers.
Now, honey has always been regarded as having really amazing medicinal properties. Okay, and what I mean by medicinal properties, I mean people use it as medicine. Okay, it helps everything from sore throats to digestive disorders to skin problems, allergies, you name it. Even infections. There's a mud dauber.
Yeah.
We're on the back porch, so if you're hearing a lot of insects and dogs, oh, and then I just actually heard a cow mooing. It's because we are out here, and Penny has spotted a mud dauber nest. Now, mud daubers are very different than honeybees. Okay.
Yeah,
They don't have honey. Yeah, they don't have any honey. Now, but did you know that honey can be used as medicine? Did you know that?
And is honey good for me?
Yeah. Like I said, it can help sore throats, it can help infections, it can help digestive problems, allergies, all kinds of stuff.
Like when I sneeze, I have allergies?
Yeah, you've got allergies.
Yeah, and the honey helped me now.
Now, there's another benefit of honey. Because of all of the natural sugar that exists in honey, the fructose and glucose, it's very easily digested by the body. And so athletes love to eat honey because it gives them a boost of energy. Do you get a boost of energy when you eat honey? You do?
I got a lot of honey. I always get a lot of honey when I eat whole fruit.
When you eat whole fruit?
Yeah.
So are you making the honey, or are you just getting the sugar from the fruit?
I'm getting the vitamins from the fruit, and I eating the honey from the thing. So my dad pours honey in the sea. When he pours honey on my fruit, it tastes good.
Honey is good. So we know that honey can be used as medicine. We know that it can be used to give you a lot of energy, and bees have to work very, very hard to make that honey, right? How many flowers do they have to visit just for a little teeny bit of honey? Do you remember that number?
A lot.
A lot, between 50 and 100. So, but did you know that honeybees have been producing honey the same way for 150 million years? That's a long time.
I found one flower, and I picked it.
And they're the only insect that produces a food that's eaten by people. Did you know that? They're the only insect that do that.
Why?
Because they're very, very special.
Oh.
Now, did you know that honey can last a long time? Yes, you are very special. That's why you're on the podcast.
But why it lasts for long years?
Well, let me tell you this story. One time, there was an archaeologist. And now you know what archaeologists do, right?
Search for bones.
Yeah, they search for bones.
And you search for bees and stuff.
Well, listen, this archaeologist was in a tomb, an Egyptian tomb one time. It was over 2,000 years old, and they found a jar of honey in there. And guess what? The honey had not spoiled. You could still eat the honey that was 100,000 years old. Can you believe that? So it can basically last thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It never goes bad. That's pretty amazing, don't you think?
Yeah, it's so cool it could last for a long week.
Now, what do you think of when you think of a bee flying?
It could make, if I see a bee got stuck, and I would pick a flower and I give it to the bee and I hold it for him.
Well, what kind of sound does the bee make?
Zzz.
Exactly. Now, do you know why they make that sound?
No.
Well, it's because their wings are beating.
Oh yeah.
Now, their wings are beating almost 12,000 times per minute. That's why it makes that buzzing sound.
I like to sound that bee sounds with the wings. Zzz. It's so cool when they make that sound. It's like
They buzz around. So, I mean, bees are pretty amazing. So, the most famous thing that they do is they pollinate flowers, right? Pollinate fruit. They also make honey, which we love eating honey. And it takes a lot of work to make just a little bit of honey, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A ton of work. Like, it requires how many flowers? Just for a teeny tiny drop of honey. Do you remember? There was that big number between 50 and how many flowers?
This many, I guess.
Oh, she's showing me 100 with her fingers and toes. Okay. But it requires trips to between 50 and 100 flowers. They have to fly miles and miles and miles, and they do a ton of work. Now, bees, they communicate how? How do bees like to communicate? So we said that they didn't talk. They don't write letters, but what was that special thing that they did?
Dance.
That's right, they dance. They do a little wiggly dance. And so what their dance does is it lets the other bees know where special flowers are at, how much nectar they have, maybe how much honey they have in the comb. So there's all kinds of special things that they like to communicate.
But what about water for the bees?
Well, they drink water. Now,
Where?
if a colony of bees consists of 20 to 60,000 honeybees, how many queens are in there?
One.
Just one queen, okay? And who lays all the eggs?
On the queen.
Now, what are the large male honeybees that don't have a stinger? What are those called?
Workers.
Well, they are a worker bee, but they're called drones specifically, okay? Now, can honey be a medicine? Yeah, absolutely. Honey can be a medicine. It could fix your sore throat. It could even fix cuts that are infected, okay? It has amazing properties. So honey can work wonders on your digestion. It can help out your allergies.
Can help my nose?
Can help your nose. And then it can last how many years, Penny?
A lot of years.
How many is... Oh, that's a lot. So remember, the archaeologists found some in that Egyptian tomb, and it was over 2,000 years old. So
yes.
Honey is amazing. Bees are amazing. But we need to talk about something that's very important about bees that we need to be thinking about, okay? All of the young scientists out there, which is that bees are disappearing.
Might I smell honey on you?
No.
I just smell honey on you.
That's the cow vomit, remember, that I cooked. Not honey.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Bob is growling at us. Let's talk about why honeybees are disappearing.
Oh, cause they're dying.
Yeah, so there is this specific issue that's happening, and it's got a very special name. It's called colony collapse disorder, and it's a phenomenon where the majority of the worker bees,
I'm
the ones who are collecting all of the nectar and the pollen and all of that kind of good stuff, they're disappearing. They're leaving behind the queens. They're leaving behind a few nurse bees and all of the immature bees. But for whatever reason, the majority of the worker bees are just going away. Okay?
they're dying?
They're dying. Now,
I'm sad for
people
those.
don't really know exactly why they're dying. Now, there's a lot of ideas and theories out there. Sometimes they think it's because of the pesticides that are used in agriculture.
Are they really?
Pesticides, well, again, they don't know. Pesticides are a kind of chemical that kills bugs, and a lot of experts are afraid that it might also be killing bees. Okay? They also believe that it could be due to global warming, okay, climate change. That's one of the reasons.
But what if they are really warm and they get cold and they freeze up?
Yeah, that could also be bad. So, in climate change, there could be drastic swings in the climate between hot and cold, and that's not good for the bees. There's also certain pathogens that could potentially be, and so those are kind of like a disease or a virus or something that's bad for the bee. Certain genetic factors, the fact that some of their habitats have gone away because of deforestation or losing natural green space. Yeah, but nobody really knows the answer. But we do know that bees are disappearing, and that's not good. Because what happens if bees disappear?
They die.
They die, but what happens to pollination?
They also die.
Well, we don't get a lot of pollination, right? And isn't that important for our plants? Yeah. Our plants would die, right, if we don't have those good pollinators.
Yes.
And we like to eat plants, don't we? We like fruits, we like vegetables, and they're important for the world.
We like medicine.
Yes. Now,
the
and what would
honey.
happen to the honey if all of the worker bees are gone? What happens to our honey?
They disappear.
So I think what we need to do is to really think about, especially as young scientists, different ways we can help out the honeybees. Now, do you know that you can help out the honeybees?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the ways that we can help bees?
Hold them if they fall.
Well, I wouldn't recommend holding a bee, but I would recommend planting flowers.
Me too. And now we're just planting flowers like anyone.
Yeah, planting a lot of flowers that bees like to have. If you see a beehive that's in a place where it shouldn't be, instead of just spraying it with like a pesticide just to kill the bees, we can call experts to help remove the hive, right?
Yeah.
And so they can kind of relocate the bees, so you don't have to kill them. We can just relocate them to a different place, right?
Yeah. Do not sting us.
Yeah.
Stuff.
And then also we can learn a lot about bees in science, right? And try to solve the problem. Can't we?
Also have a lot of bees everywhere. Do you remember we have a lot of bees?
Yeah, we've got a lot of bees in our barn over there, don't we? So bees are amazing. They do a lot of work to make honey. Honey is super beneficial to us because it's good medicine. It's great for our allergies. It tastes really yummy. But they're also very important because they're pollinators, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They're starting to disappear. So what can we do to make sure that they don't disappear?
Help them out.
Yeah, we're going to plant some flowers, right?
Plant.
And if you find bees, what are we going to do? Let's say they're in a place where they're not supposed to be. Let's say they built a hive in your closet.
They didn't build a hive in
But
our
if they
closet.
did, we'll have to call an expert to get them out, right?
Yeah.
Or if they built a hive in like your backpack or your lunchbox or something.
That'll be crazy, dude. It's only food, right?
Yeah, but bees are pretty cool, right?
Yeah. But can I tell you something important? When I was hoping, Dad, I heard that bzzz.
I know.
Noise.
You got to be careful because they do sting. Now, what is the most interesting fact that you
But
learned
it
about
didn't
bees?
sting me. It was just getting some honey over there.
Oh, good.
In
Yeah,
the
they
barn.
generally don't sting. They're generally not too aggressive, right?
Mm-mm.
Well, what do you like about bees the most? Or what was one of the things that you like? I think that was either a hog or a cow. I don't know if the mic actually picked that up, but it was a big loud noise.
Yeah. It was like,
It's kind of off in the woods. It was either yeah, there it is. It sounds almost like a wild pig.
It almost sounds like a cow fighting with
A cow fighting. Well, tell me, Penny, before we wrap up, what was the most interesting thing that you learned about bees?
They love honey, and they disappeared a while ago.
Yeah, they're starting to disappear. Well, anyway, Penny, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really enjoy when you do it with me. Do you want to tell anything to your friends? You want to say anything to them?
Yeah.
Oh.
I hate that noise.
You don't like that noise? Okay. Well, guys, I hope that you have a great week. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure that you subscribe or hit that notification button, rate and review. Penny, do you want to shout out Bee Power?
Bee power.
High five, Bee Power.